Welcome back to the desk, guys. The console finals. It's been interesting in the first two groups, now joined by Brochacho, the support player for SOAR. You're one game away from qualification. How does it feel, man?
It feels great, man. Like, honestly, we prepped really hard coming into this. We were kind of like an underdogs, you know, going up against rival in that first set, and we really looked really strong.
Did you guys expect, I mean, obviously you want to, you know, prepare and hope for the 2-0. Did you guys expect it to be that kind of performance?
Honestly, no. We didn't. We prepped a lot the night before. We went in, you know, strategizing a lot the night before. You got to do your homework on your opponents, and it ended up paying off like heavily the next day. So.
Well, one more game for you guys, but we got a game going on now, guys. It's going to be Cyclone taking on Allegiance, and honestly, Cyclone looking pretty good up against Aware, and Aware has looked really dominant as well. And that's going to bode well for them.
I mean,
well for them, aggro.
They looked pretty competitive up against Aware. I mean, Aware obviously came up with a 2-0 at the end of the day, but there were times during those sets that they looked close, especially in the early game. That's the thing that Cyclone seems to have down. It's just a matter of how well can they transition to that team fight phase.
I completely agree with that. Cyclone, I don't think anyone expected that to happen the first day against Aware, and Aware is one of the better teams in North America. We respect them because they have 3 console natives.
Yeah.
And to have 3 console natives and to look like a team like that.
Perform this well.
Exactly.
It was a pretty dominant performance, but all these guys are playing for their spot at the Smite World Championship, and you can give your support as well. We do have some promos going on. It's the digital loot pack. You get all the stuff listed, which is a ton, most notably that Chibi Hades, because it's amazing. And I was actually talking to Scott Gandhi earlier. The work that went into that was almost a tier 5 level. Like, it took a lot to get that skin. It's an awesome skin, guys, and you can get it all for 1,500 gems. Make sure to check it out now in your Smite client. But back to the fall finals action. We talked a little bit, you know, about Cyclone and how they were performing, but Aware as well. I mean, coming into this, definitely 3rd seed, but a lot of the focus was on Chaotic Purpose, but the team as a whole has been playing so well and really shaking up this second group.
I mean, for me, it's been Baronic, who's really stepped up and shown that he can play at a different level that here on LAN that I didn't really expect from him. The Raw that he's played has been absolutely nasty. The Zeus first picked, you know, it's no surprise that he's playing that Zeus early on. He played it a lot during the online portion, but the way he's been playing, as well as Dr. L in that solo lane on that Amaterasu day 1, really just overall that team's looking very strong.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Baronic did step it up big time this LAN, and it's not only Chaotic Purpose anymore, right? It doesn't look like it anymore. It's a tandem of your mid-jungle combo. And the synergy between those 2 roles, we all know, is like really important, you know?
And earlier today, I mean, in their game against Elevate earlier on, it was Chaotic Purpose finished 0-2. I mean, and they win the game, and it's on the back of Cameron, who was like 7-0, and Baronic, who was top of the player damage charts as Zeus. It's definitely not the layers of death show anymore for them.
They've got 6 points, so really up there for qualification, and the next 2 people are going to have to show up, right? Allegiance versus Cyclone. There's still the chance for Aware to be in a 3-way tie, but that's going to require Cyclone to 2-0 here. Going through this lineup for Cyclone, who's really some impact players for you, aggro?
For me, coming into this, it was Ezzuna. In that solo lane, it was really Ezzuna whenever he was on the Sobek in particular, but he picks it twice against Aware and gets bodied. I mean, there's really no other word for it. He had a tough time in that matchup, and so we'll have to see if he's able to bounce back and pick up something else. Bloakley, for me, in their mid lane, was looking a little bit stronger as well, and then no Styley is the hunter. Whenever he can get Jing Wei, that's when you start to see him show up.
What are your thoughts on Ezzuna here in the solo lane? Obviously, we've only seen the Sobek from him. I mean, is this maybe a one-god wonder?
I expected high things from him coming in. I didn't expect it to only be a Sobek. In the online phase, obviously, you saw that he had a good Sobek. We in particular looked at Cyclone versus the rival matches when we were, you know, studying scrims, and Ezzuna was a guy that you would notice as an impact player for them. When they did sneak a game off a rival early in the season, it was because of Ezzuna having an impact game, and I didn't expect that first day. that was not the greatest. No,
it was not the greatest, but I mean the team was definitely going toe to toe with Aware for the first 10 to 15 minutes. It was kind of the team fights that broke out afterwards, and it was really Wolves for Allegiance that made that difference. With Ezzuna not really performing up to standard, this kid just went off.
What else can you say about Wolves? I mean, we talk about him every online stage, every LAN, and it's all deserved. I mean, this dude is a beast. He picks the Odin. It doesn't matter if it's fits the team comp or not. He's just gonna bird bomb your brains out and do it all the time.
Well, last LAN, Wolves was triumphant with this lineup here, and once again, he's trying to find himself a LAN win.
Wolves is probably like the most difficult player to gank in the NA scene. It's always annoying to play against Allegiance because Wolves will get really far ahead and Cyno camps his lane. We lose all of our buffs, and if we go over there, Wolves kills us too. It's like, how do you deal with him?
Wolves is, without a doubt, the best soul laner on Xbox.
Yeah, I actually think, like, not only is he the best, like, soul laner, I think he's actually, like, one of the best box players, like, of all time. Like, I'm not even kidding. He's actually, the things he does is, like I've never seen anyone do, like, his jukes, his decision-making, what he does, and he, like, always wins lane. I actually think he, like, soloed literally everyone in, like, NA. Like, I'm not even kidding when I say that. Like, probably, like, he just solos people off cooldown. And I don't know how he does it, but.
Wolves, he's like really quiet, but Wolves will just go off in the game and just get soloed by Watson every now and then. But, you know, he's there, he does his job.
Wolves, he's quiet. I was quiet, but like, I feel like I've opened up more because of Smite. And like, Wolves is quiet also, but like, he's a great solo and like, he has like 8 Smurfs, and he doesn't tell nobody, he just grinds Smurfs.
Mr. Mortality himself. Wolves is, he's funny. He never really talks, right? But when he does, it's the most funniest thing I've ever heard. Like, he'll just say the weirdest stuff. He'll send like dog pics and like DMs. And I'm like Wolves, what?
Wolves is the same. Wolves is really quiet and he lets his play do the talking. But I don't know. He got soloed by Watson in solo last split, so I'm not quite sure how we'll do at this land. Maybe he'll get soloed a few more times.
Transonics, man, if he has 8 Smurfs and no one knows about them, you don't say it on the interview. You just ruined
blast,
him.
What is it? Silver 5 Loki is another one of his. that as soon as, because
Is he
he
in Silver
insta-locks
5?
Loki. No, he's like probably Masters with
man.
it because he only plays Loki and no one knows how to deal with it.
So I know this is crazy, but we did actually see Loki played in a legitimate match by Wolves last time we saw him at the summer finals. Do you think we're going to see kind of those non-standard picks? You know, it's really just Guardians and Warriors. Is this something that we could see Wolves bring out here? Because, I mean, if you're going to do it, this is the match to do it.
I don't want to give away any strats because
You don't have to say
we
it.
were scrimming
Okay,
them
okay.
a little bit coming into this, but you know, Wolves is a guy that I think this time is going to keep it a little bit more safe. Maybe even whip out a Guardian, which he hasn't done often. But I think he's going to stay more with the frontliner.
I mean, I remember when we first played up against Wolves, and you probably remember this, Eric. I was playing with you. They would pick Ao Kwang. It was like on his juice days, and they would just give him Ao Kwang because they didn't even want to jungle it. They just like, let's just give it to our best player, and he would just body with Ao Kwang in the solo lane. This dude can play anything. There's no doubt in my mind.
Into picks and bans, and that Ao Kwang already taken off the table. Obviously, it was CycloneGG who actually brought it out yesterday, and I think a lot of people were talking about how this wasn't in his God pool before. Well, Cyclone have now recognized after day 1 that it's in his God pool, and it's going to be a first pick Zeus over to Clow.
Is this a Allegiance or Aware? I mean, first pick Zeus, you can never really tell the difference.
That's another guy on camera right now that we didn't really talk about coming into the picks. DineOhSaw I was pretty impressed with him day 1. I don't know about you guys. It was for a support player watching another support. It was pretty impressive with the Erlang support.
What was it about him and kind of his play style?
Very aggressive, and he picked Deathtoll as a support. When you see that happen, I mean, it's either hit or miss, and it was hit the first game.
You picked Deathtoll today. What are you talking about?
That's Fenrir, man. What can I say?
So yeah, I expect this Erlang Shen's a support 100%.
Yeah,
DineOhSaw
definitely.
loves
And look,
to play
they picked it in, yeah.
So Athena, we're thinking that this is going jungle or potentially solo?
Ezzuna seems like the type of guy who would like
I agree.
something like an Athena solo. He seems like the type of dude who's a little bit unhinged. He's willing to try anything, you know?
And honestly, Athena solo is something to think about as well. You don't necessarily need that teleport, right? You can use your teleport in lane. Sometimes bait out the opponent's teleport and then ult over to a fight on the other side of the map.
Or even ult over to a Gold Fury.
Yeah,
and use her ult as a secure because it's very high damage when she's a solo laner, specifically, you know?
And ALG also going to combine the Zeus with the Nemesis and Bacchus, looking for that combo in that mid jungle.
I like the Nemesis locked in. As soon as you see 2 tanky targets on the side of Cyclone, and you expect that they could pick another one, even if they're going for Athena jungle, they still need a tanky frontliner, the solo lane potentially. You lock in that Nemesis, and CycloneGG, I mean, yeah, he carried on Ao Kwang yesterday, but this was the god that you did not give to CycloneGG during the summer split when I was playing. You just never gave Cyno Nemesis because he plays it so well.
And looks like Cyclone's going for the same thing. It's really about this setup. They've got the Athena and Erlang Shen, and they've paired it with the Vulcan. Obviously, you want that massive amount of setup when you have such an impact ult like Earthbreaker.
I love this draft so far from Cyclone. You got DineOhSaw, a comfort god. We'll have to see how Bloakley does on this Vulcan, but he impressed me with his mid lane play yesterday. If he can follow up off the heavy CC that Cyclone's already drafted, this is a good chance for them to really abuse this immobile Zeus.
Yeah, Vulcan's really going to have to look out here, though, too, because you have a Nem ult, Bacchus flop, Bacchus ult. They don't even need a Zeus at that point, right? You look at that combo, I mean, Vulcan's going to pop. If they hit that combo, he's popping at that point.
Rom going to be locked in here. Cyclone actually electing to ban away Hunters, interesting enough, without having their own, but they did have that first pick in the second phase. And ALG have kind of done the same thing. They banned away that Freya and Soul. Really worried about Cyclone in the duo.
No surprise to see the Freya ban from Allegiance, but I am about the Jingwei for Cyclone. I mean, like I mentioned, Styley loves Jingwei. Like, that's his character that he really stood out on. And then when you do have that first pick coming out of the ban phase, kind of surprised to see that banned away by the own team.
I mean, isn't this more for that guaranteed kill on Zeus? A lot of Hunters do have trouble kind of jumping into him and getting aggressive because of that ult, and those snipes could potentially be that extra little bit of damage you need that you don't have when you kind of jump on there. It's always risky to pile on a Zeus.
Then it comes back also to being a Rama on the box too, right? Like that's very hit or miss. I do agree with that 100% though. It's hard to get near a Zeus sometimes. And at least Rama can maybe confirm even a kill on him. You get him weak enough, he's backing out of the fight with his ult, zoning everyone out. Finish him off.
Well, final two picks here for ALG. Ymir, Apollo. How are you feeling about this draft, Brochacho?
Allegiance got what they want. Matt Koiz from Season 1 was a jungler for Eager and played Ymir off cooldown, and they just picked it for the... maybe that can go anywhere right now.
I think it's going to be solo. I know Wolves likes to play it in solo, and look at the gods that Cyclone had drafted up until that point. 4 gods that get destroyed by Ymir wall in the jungle. No way for any of those gods to get up over that wall. I love the Ymir selection.
And then Thor, they're going to be the final pick for Cyclone here. Real quick, Brochacho, what are your predictions for this game?
I'm going with Allegiance just because, like I said, out of respect for them, we were scrim partners with them, but Cyclone did have a great performance game 1. Maybe an upset can happen here.
Allegiance, this team comp is beautiful from them.
I agree. I think Allegiance is going to take it, but once again, Cyclone looked devastating in the first 10 to 15 minutes. We'll see if they've made some adjustments and can better be suited for that team fight aspect of the game. We've got 2 casters standing by. Tom, Toley, take it away.
Thanks a lot, Kevin and friends over there on the desk. I do have to point one thing out. Brochacho, he's doing a good job and everything, but he didn't commit. I don't think I didn't catch that. He didn't say he was going to win this
He definitely didn't force the issue there. I want to see a little bit more commitment out of that for sure. But looking at this game specifically, Allegiance against CycloneGG, I'm really liking the composition out of Allegiance. Zeus mid lane paired up with just the aggressive style out of xCynosurex. I'm really expecting big things once they're grouping up, especially depending on once these little 3v3 skirmishes come around the corner.
Yeah, I'm pretty amped up to see what goes down here. Cyclone, like Chacho said, or like Brochacho said, they do have a nice little draft here, so I want to see how they execute. And most importantly, though, xCynosurex on that Nemesis. This is, you just can't give this guy this character. I mean, Aggro really painted the picture. xCynosurex on this Nemesis has been devastating during the regular season.
But if you don't give him the Nemesis, then you're going to give up so much more other things, right? You got the Naja potentially for him that he really likes to be aggressive with, especially now. This leaves a lot of opportunities for Cloud to play a lot of these burst mages with that Naja.
Well, when it comes down to it, sure, you put him on a different character and there's a little bit more wiggle room to fail. Nemesis is, I don't want to ever call anything easy, but not difficult, right?
Almost fail-proof, right? You can't really miss that ultimate. Like, there has
really
to be
can't.
some sort of glitch in the 9th solar system for that to kind of happen.
The 9th solar system, huh?
Yeah.
The 9th one.
I mean, sometimes we're just really far out there, as young homie likes to say.
Oh my goodness. Let's get off to a good start. Allegiance versus a CycloneGG. Ezzuna will be playing that Athena in the solo lane. I'm very excited to see that. We were talking a little bit before, or rather they were talking before on the desk about how he's the type of guy to really bring these supports, or rather Guardians, over to the solo lane. We see the Sobek all the time. We see the Ymir a little bit as well. As you can see, Wolves playing that across the way. But the Athena solo is something a little bit more rare. Why don't you break this one down for us, Tony?
So the whole point of going Athena solo lane is just to be able to rotate to team fights with that global presence. You want to be able to out-rotate your opposition, especially with Ymir, who has a very slow base movement speed, obviously very clunky. So as a result, this just makes the most logical sense. Put the Athena in the solo lane, look for the team fights. But on the flip side also, she's going to get outpoked during the laning phase. Ymir just brings that kind of arsenal to the table during the laning phase. So as a result, trying to counteract that, going for the regen, going to go for that Stone of Gaia rush.
Yeah, just straight up life. and some HP 5 as well eventually, depending on where she finishes that one off. And, you know, so Athena looking to obviously clear with the shield wall, or is she going to really invest in the charge?
There's other ways to do it. More than likely, you want to invest all your points into the shield wall just to be able to clear against the Ymir. In order to stack the wave up, you have to hit the Ymir with the reach just to pull all the minion aggro behind the archers and then drop the shield wall to get that guaranteed full clear.
So it's a little bit more intricate than some of the other choices. DineOhSaw getting aggressed on. Nice little belly flop. Transonics going to have you chased underneath the tower. So Team Allegiance being aggressive, but actually paying for it and getting aggressed on. You can see ALG. That's why they were so aggressive. Big two-man rotation coming out from mid and jungle, but Cyclone don't take the bait. They don't go deep enough, so we don't see any fireworks.
Clow and xCynosurex doing a good job picking up those elementals and harpies first, and as a result, they're level 4 combined, whereas we still only see Bloakley and Hyperionnn still level 3, so I'm expecting a big level 5 power play coming out of Allegiance between that Nemesis ultimate, along with all the damage that Zeus is going to be able to follow up with.
And, you know, this Zeus has been one of Clow's go-to characters. I think when you look at Clow's god pool, you can look at Zhonghui, you can look at Zeus, you can look at Vulcan, and a couple of other characters here and there, maybe an Isis. But Zeus has been one of the longer time characters that Clow has played, and, you know, just got to be very confident if you're on Allegiance supporting his Zeus.
And with the momentum already
Nice
coming
wall.
out of the Nemesis player, xCynosurex, he backed with only 1,000 gold differential between the starting gold, which means he didn't invest too many potions to begin with, and that 2-minute warrior tab is going to allow him to continue the pressure onto the Thor, preventing him from backing, and as a result, could look for an invade later on.
Cloud's going to get ult. Cloud's going to turn around, actually, and dish an ult. As DineOhSaw shows up. A lot of damage coming out from the guys at Allegiance, but not a full commit. And I don't mind that, totally. That was really Cyclone stepping forward first, and Allegiance just sort of responding.
Unfortunately, not having the triple stack on the Zeus to be able to really confirm and lock down that first blood potential, especially with the detonate only being a level 2 at this point. Obviously, investing into a point into the shield, the chain lightning, an ultimate, as well as only 2 points in the detonate, means that the Erlang Shen lives to fight another day.
So right now, very early on in this game, don't expect too much action because both of these compositions are going to be late game compositions. I think the micro meta that has sort of come out with this weekend that we've seen has been early game aggression. A lot of power in the jungle, a lot of presence early on. But like I said, you've got a Zeus here in the mid lane supported by a Nemesis. These are both late game characters. Thor is probably the only one that's going to think about getting aggressive. He's going to land directly on Cloud. Ooh. Got some help, and Bloakley from the 3 line shoots it down for first blood. 500 in the pocket for Bloakley.
Just an easy opportunity. Behold, I thought Hyperionnn, though, still in a lot of trouble. Transonics makes the rotation, but he didn't commit to the Thor kill. He didn't want to get traded 1-for-1 there. So overall, exploiting the fact that the Zeus, Cloud, not having that purification available, still on cooldown from the earlier engagement. First blood getting credited to the Vulcan.
It's just so funny how things work out. I was just about to highlight the fact that both these teams in general are rather late game compositions. You've got xCynosurex and Clow on late game characters, and then even on the way of Cyclone, right? You've got Vulcan, who's relatively late. But if there's one person that's going to start things off very quickly in the early game, it's going to be that Thor. And then of course we see the first blood come right off of it. So Thor, he hits the mid lane, and he's able to take out Clow specifically because Zeus is relatively immobile. Where does Hyperionnn go next?
He's going to be able to try to continue the pressure probably onto Clow, having that one death. You want to be able to lock that down, but Allegiance now recognizing the pressure that CycloneGG was able to put on, now sneaking the Gold Fury very early in the game, so still staying very relevant in the game. But Wolves, though, doing a good job buying some time, but I don't think Ezzuna's going to give this one up yet.
That was a complete sneak, too. Usually you see these Gold Furies go down and the opponent knows, but they can't respond. Or the Gold Fury just goes down so quickly that even, I think I have an idea, and the opponent shows up. That was 2 players slowly chipping the Gold Fury down.
They didn't expect that sort of burst damage coming out of Allegiance. They thought, like, there's no way that Allegiance is going to do Gold Fury without Wolves being there, because there's 2 factors for Wolves being so useful around that gold. There's number 1, he has the Wrath, and number 2, his ultimate just does so much damage to confirm that Gold Fury, and that's the whole idea between Hyperionnn trying to apply pressure in that solo lane. He recognizes that Wolves will out-damage Ezzuna the later the laning phase goes on, so trying to alleviate more pressure, allowing Athena to make these rotations.
At the same time, we saw one of the highlights about Athena. She didn't actually get credit because Cloud died before Bloakley's Bloakley hit the ultimate before Athena was able to come down. But the combination of the Thor and the Athena ultimate out of the solo lane is a ton of damage. So you definitely got to keep an eye on Ezzuna to see how that one really develops outside of the lane itself.
There's just so many combinations with that Athena ultimate besides the Thor in general. There's always the Guan Yu cavalry charge that you always have to look out for. But going over this game specifically, I like the way both teams are kind of fighting fire with fire, having the Guardian in that solo lane, having a lot of late game presence out of their hunters with attack speed steroids between Rama's second ability and then the passive out of Apollo. Both of them having global presence in one way or another, but Transonics obviously trumping the ROM in this regard by being able to fly from one map to another.
And I think the Apollo choice was very intelligent. CycloneGG gonna get ulted, but it's not been too big of a deal. Turns an ult. A lot of damage, honestly, going onto the Thor, and Koiz shows up. Pops over the wall and pops down Hyperionnn. It's going to be 1-1 as Allegiance answers back a couple of minutes later.
This is what makes Allegiance so scary in general. There needs to be that internal timer in your head just to recognize, okay, we have the pressure, we have 5 seconds until the counter pressure is coming from either Koiz or just even out of the ultimate at Transonics. We saw him making the loop-de-loop back into that duel lane, making sure he doesn't miss out on any farm, but he was going to be committed to making that rotation in case the team fight kept on going.
Right, and I think the Apollo choice was so intelligent because it's going to answer the Athena. Now, you don't always have to answer an Athena with another global, but when the Athena's over there in the solo lane, she holds such a different purpose from when she's support, right? When Athena's playing support, she's always going to be holding hands with the rest of the team. There's no reason for her to be elsewhere. But down comes Hyperionnn, cuts off Clow. He's dancing in the rainstorm, and Clow gets knocked up. Clow trying to find an exit, taunted into the damage, but can't find the last hit. DineOhSaw brings him down, but it's not until after Hyperionnn falls as well. 1-for-1 quickly turns into a 2-for-1. Transonics shows up, dials down Bloakley.
But the rotation coming from no Styley, not hitting that third snipe, unfortunately. This is the differential between these two global ultimates. Transonics is able to get there just a little bit quicker and taking advantage of Bloakley just being a little bit overextended, trying to find the last hit onto Cloud. So overall, 1-for-1 trade. And in the solo lane now, the Hog did confirm it from Wolves, so now able to just be a big on bully, walling out Ezzuna.
Yeah, Ezzuna's going to take a little bit of damage from the ultimate, but a lot of damage out of the Nemesis. But Wolves is the last hit there. Hits him in the face with the club. 1-0-0 for the solo Ymir.
That one in-hand did so much damage to Ezzuna at this point. It's the Frostbite passive on top of the Nemesis ultimate that just shredded all the protections away from Ezzuna. So overall, Allegiance doing a good job playing off of each other already, getting that Gold Fury early on, and then a few kills with that invade has given them a 3,000 gold lead now heading into the 9-minute mark.
Ton of attention being paid over here on the right side. Wolves hits him with the freeze. Obviously doesn't get the stun, but smacks him down anyway. Hyperionnn gets hit with another big damage basic out of Ymir. Wolves gonna avoid the ultimate out of Bloakley. There's the damage onto Ezzuna. Solo laner is getting in a lot of trouble. That time it'll freeze. No purification available for the Athena. Bloakley might be able to finish off Wolves with the turret. Knocked up, and DineOhSaw from behind takes down Ymir finally.
Finally being stuck between that tier 1 and tier 2 tower. Now Cloud being taunted into danger, but Koiz doing a good job peeling for him with that belly flop. Now popping the sprint to make sure these two members are going to get away, but DineOhSaw popping the sprint of his own with the ultimate from Ezzuna, trying to find another return kill.
And Athena's got some powerful boots. She's got the CDR boots, not the tank or the Talaria that you're used to seeing on a support, so her damage is going to be very large, not just out of the ultimate, but also some of the follow-up damage as well, whether it comes in the way of the charge or the shield wall. So you got to keep in mind that this Athena is not just, she's not just going to show up for crowd control. There's going to be a lot of contribution in these team fights from Ezzuna.
That's what you really want out of Athena transitioning into these mid to late game team fights, having that kind of superior cooldown reduction with the cooldown boots. Now, more than likely going to skip out on Breastplate of Valor, now probably working towards that Spirit's Robe because of all the control coming out of Allegiance. They have that Ymir freeze, they have the belly flop burp combination for Koiz, as well as even the Mesmerize coming out of Transonics is going to be able to get mitigated quite a bit with that Spirit's Robe.
Ideally, I'd like to see the Spirit's Robe finished, then maybe a Void Stone or a hybrid item like that. I really like offensive Athena. I think she brings a lot of damage. She scales decently as well, which is why I like to see offensive and hybrid selections. Allegiance going to start the Gold Fury here. Cyclone being kept at bay. Transonics peeling off of the objective and instead looking to fight. As soon as Hyperionnn takes to the sky, Allegiance are well aware. They're going to dodge out. Bloakley tosses the ultimate onto nobody, and Clow takes down Hyperionnn. They pick the Gold Fury up, and they bring him down. DineOhSaw cutting out on the right-hand side. CycloneGG chasing. 1 basic, 2 basic. The heal is going to be good for the moment, but Clow brings him down at the end of it. Ezzuna's frozen. Ezzuna's mezzed. Ezzuna's gone. Mortality Wolves playing for Allegiance brings him home.
Allegiance getting 3 kills, getting the Gold Fury, doing a great job respecting that Thor ultimate on that Gold Fury. They reset it at the perfect timing. Also baited Hyperionnn to not only miss his ultimate, but it aggroed the Gold Fury that was still at about 25% health, and then immediately Mad Koiz just jumping on top of Hyperionnn, not allowing him to hammer away. This secures the Gold Fury for Allegiance, and now they're not done yet. They're going to go for this tier 1 on the left-hand side.
They're going to go for Styley as well, brought down about half HP, maybe even lower. PS, Nemesis just taking out Hyperionnn.
There's no dash on the Ram. On the left-hand side, they're trying to find a kill, but the wall is not going to be good enough, going to be able to walk away from that one. So Allegiance still getting extra gold objectives any way that they can get it. CycloneGG has just been giving up too much space control to this Nemesis. Look at the level differential between these two junglers. Hyperionnn has not been farming efficiently.
And this is exactly what we were talking about, Totally. CycloneSure on this Nemesis. He's so incredible when it comes down to just being able to chase whoever. Right here, he's going to chase out the ultimate from Ezzuna. Ezzuna's going to wind up in the mid lane. But this Nemesis on CycloneSure, it works out so well because CycloneSure is one of these characters that always wants to be ganking. When you see junglers, some players like to invade a lot, some players like to farm a lot, and CycloneSure likes to always gank. With Nemesis, that doesn't always work out, but how successful these ganks have been going this game, he's allowed to stay just fastidious and stick to his game plan.
He has 100% kill participation for his team at this point in time. We saw that Hyperionnn was able to get that first kill onto Cloud that was a little bit, not even out of position really. He dove that tier 1 tower in the mid lane with the ultimate coming out of Bloakley, but after that point in time just wasn't able to successfully recover or take him. Oh, nice mess during the dash.
Catches the dash. Styley, no exit. Couple of basics. Transonics takes him out before he takes to the sky. Misses to So Beautiful, but Transonics has an ult of his own, and the burst from Thor just not there yet. Transonics hailing from the Bronx, looking hot.
Just doing a good job though, unfortunately for Hyperionnn. He was a little
you later.
He was a little too hesitant with that hammer, trying to find the kill. Ezzuna getting taken out on the
left
tier
side.
2 on the right, tier 2 on the left. Allegiance all over the place getting kills left, right, and even center. And now they're going to try to go for this tier 2 tower.
DineOhSaw is going to get jumped on as well. Half HP for the support. Erlang Shen finds a taunt, but he's gone. Clow pulls the trigger horn before the heal, and he's just obliterated. 4 kills in total for Mr. Shen, and man, Allegiance, they're up 10 kills. They have a 10,000 gold lead, or just about, and 3 minutes over as many minutes. They are just looking so clean. 14 on the clock, and Team Allegiance look like they've already won this one.
Yeah, they're doing a good job already. Obviously, Aware having 6 points, and we saw Sora having 6 points earlier on. So now Allegiance, they also want to be in the same position, trying to qualify to World. CycloneSure definitely feeling himself quite a lot. Now forced into the purification, but it doesn't really matter. The experience lead is just too much to really handle. He'll be fine to walk away. He even has the Void Shield right now, or trying to be able to really help out Transonics in these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, this is the handoff point, right? For 14 minutes, Transonics only level 15. He's probably going to get taken down here. He pops the relic. Ezzuna can't find him. Styley finally does.
Finally.
But right here, this is the beginning of the handoff. I think Transonics starts to take the game in a couple of levels. As we approach maybe 17, 18 minutes, it becomes Transonics' game and not so much CycloneSure's. So right now you see CycloneSure building into these items that are going to help Transonics a little bit later.
They're doing a good job disengaging from the ultimate from CycloneSure, but overall it is going to be a shorter cooldown for CycloneSure with his ultimate. Now Ezzuna staring down the Nemesis, able to secure his own speed before Hyperionnn, but now it's going to be forcing out the purification out of Bloakley with Wolves lingering around this solo side jungle. He should be able to really find a nice wall if the hammer is down.
Well, Allegiance right here, you know, they're just forcing out everything that they can. Allegiance realized like that situation right there between CycloneSure and Ezzuna. CycloneSure knows that he's not going to die, so he forces out the Hawk. right? With Wrath of the Gods down, well, now we can take a Fire Giant without being afraid of that Athena relic right there. And then Bloakley over there on the Vulcan, sure, maybe Wolves didn't think that he could actually kill him, but he chases out the purification, so the next time Bloakley shows up, he will fall over. Allegiance really planning for the next fight, not necessarily the fight right now.
Just doing a good job controlling the space between CycloneGG and Wolves on this Ymir, forcing out the Sanctuary out of Bloakley on the left-hand side. The ultimate doing a little bit of damage, but it's just not high enough level to get the guaranteed kill.
Koiz finishes it off by dropping the jug, freeze on a DineOhSaw and Ezzuna, and they're frozen in the rain cloud. DineOhSaw gonna fall down. CycloneGG gets credit. That's his 5th of the contest. Transonics on the left side, taking 2 players by himself. And here's the wraparound. CycloneGG looking for it, finds it. That's 2. Clow looks for 1, gets it by himself. Transonics, what was that out of Hyperionnn? Trades his life for nothing. Double kill for Clow. All 5 members in Cyclone jerseys are down. Tier 2 tower as well. Wolves having a laugh and Allegiance having a ball. 19 kills in total. They're looking at a 16-minute Phoenix.
That's just a definition of a little bit of land jitters from Hyperionnn. He landed in, he wanted to go out for his combo, throw the hammer, get the stun, get an in-hand in between the stun and the Berserker Barrage, but unfortunately jumping the gun, instantly teleporting to the hammer, and as a result, just messes up the whole combo as a result. Now, granted, that wouldn't have really saved the team fight, but overall, that just goes to show that CycloneGG need a little bit more reps in the gym, as you like to say, just to be able to compete at this LAN level.
I mean, even if Hyperionnn, so Hyperionnn, you know, messes that combo up, and that's more of a muscle mistake than an actual like intelligence mistake, right? We've seen Hyperionnn do the combo. I have no problem with that. Fire Giant started up, spicy play at a Cyclone.
It makes sense though, because obviously left-hand side Allegiance securing the gold here, but now Wolves is here with CycloneGG. These are the 2 members that are going to do a lot of damage to you, but it doesn't matter. 2 on 4. DineOhSaw getting taken out immediately.
CycloneGG, low HP, Hyperionnn and Styley trying to find it. There's the ultimate, double dash gets him away. Todd's gonna help out. Ezzuna gets credit with the shield wall. And now Transonics barreling these basics into the opposition. See, Hyperionnn gets out up north, and Clow makes sure Ezzuna can't get out. He's looking so fresh on the Zeus.
Ooh, unfortunately missing the
he's going
beautiful,
in.
But he wants to go in. He wants to look good for the big screen. He's going to make the loop-de-loop. He's waiting for it. The Zeus ultimate, though, is going to be good enough overall, though. But no, Styley, though, trading it off. Overall, that was a 2 for 3. Stopping the Fire Giant, though, was a good play from Allegiance after getting that Gold Fury.
Clow right there having a laugh. Transonics goes a little bit too deep, and his kill target is just taken away. Cloud does fall over for it, so I'm sure Leeds a little bit happy about that one.
Top player damage at this point in time. Level 17 Zeus is a good pace for this game for Allegiance. They're looking very strong in their first game against CycloneGG. With this 13,000 gold lead, they could potentially look for a Fire Giant now as the 5th items are about to be complete.
Yeah, I mean, this lead coming out from Allegiance, they can take any fight they want. Over 10,000, if you guys know me and my casting at all, five digits. When you hit 10,000 gold, that's your license to do whatever you want on the map. At that point, Cyclone have to really, not just a single team fight, but 2 team fights to really strip you down. So Team Allegiance right here, yeah, Transonics can afford to go a little bit deeper. When you've got this lead, you're kind of able to have a little bit of flex room for your strategy. Right now, Allegiance is going to look for the Fire Giant. If Cyclone bother them, they take the fight as well.
Right now, CycloneGG, they have to find that 1 marble out of the bag out of 100 that's going to be able to steal away this Fire Giant, but nobody's even in position to be here. They had the tools necessary, potentially. They had Bloakley with the ultimate. They had the snipes coming out of DineOhSaw. They could have potentially disrupted the flow out of Wolves being able to really secure that, but instead, they don't even want to get baited near that area because they also have to deal with the Fire Giant minions on the left-hand side, and they could always be a bait where Allegiance are hiding in the jungle. If you don't have the vision around the Fire Giant, then at this point when you're 13,000 plus gold behind, you just have to give it up and hope that there's over-aggressive positioning from Allegiance diving the Phoenixes.
And you know, you mentioned that Allegiance could just be hiding. We've seen that. this is something that this team likes to do. One, it's fun. This is a team that likes to have fun, and if you're playing against them, you have to know that. You have to realize that some of these plays that are going to be fun are a little bit more reasonable for Allegiance. We've seen them hide behind a wall and laugh about the fight. So Cyclone starting something, but Hyperionnn by himself, not able to get the rest of the team to follow up. xCynosurex drops his ult, looking at a target. Styley gets taken out. So does Ezzuna. That's the double kill for Clow already. 3 players sitting down. 2 players are playing defense, but how hard can they? Bloakley gets taken down to half HP. Clow's going to toss out the Frisbee, and now it's the Titan that's in everybody's eyes. Ultimate out of Wolves going to bring the Titan down to half HP, and Allegiance bring it down to 0, 25-6 in 20 minutes. ALG looking fantastic.
Like we mentioned before, there's 2 teams in set 1 and 2 that already have 6 points. Allegiance now, they're 1 win away from being also able to really get in the same spot. They have been here to play ever since the summer split, since they won those finals.
Yeah, I mean, Cyclone, this is a good team. This is not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. ALG are just that much stronger, in my opinion, and I think after you watch that performance, how can you disagree?
Absolutely. I'm expecting really big things out of Allegiance in this next game as well. CycloneGG really have to figure out a way to shut down Clow in the mid lane, because they got the first kill from Hyperion's ultimate, but they never really followed up with any sort of continued pressure.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too much power coming out from the guys on ALG. And, you know, I mean, honestly, it's just a pleasure to watch them really do their thing. Adonis, Aggro, and one of my oldest friends in the scene, Elbro Chacho, are standing by. Let's break it down.
You know, I did expect, I think we all had expected Allegiance to win. We all favored them heading into the game as well, but to do it in such a dominating performance is really surprising.
In some ways, yes. On the other hand, I mean, this is the top card in North America. They were the first seed. They won the summer finals. And then, you know, we saw what Soar was able to do to Rival. Yep. And if Rival's doing that to Cyclone, you can kind of connect the dots and you can kind of see this one coming.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with this matchup was the jungle. It was like blatantly obvious, I think, to everyone here, and it's something that I think they're gonna have to, if they want to even maybe sneak a game too, they're gonna have to really.
Yeah, Hyperionnn really was struggling in that game, and it wasn't even. It didn't even feel like this was ALG playing amazing. This really felt like Hyperionnn dropped the ball. We saw him miss way too many abilities, and you know. It doesn't matter whether it was right to go in or, you know, whether he should have done any 50 other things. Yep. The fact is, when you get into a fight and you miss your stuff, it's always going to turn out disastrous.
Especially when you're Thor.
Yeah.
Like Thor more so than most junglers, correct? Like,
yeah, for sure. I think my personal favorite was whatever. He got the double dunk on the left-hand side, threw the hammer, teleported, and then walled no one. And then just kind of accepted
and then teammate claps.
Unfortunately, it did feel like after he had such a rough start, he was almost in his own head. We saw him like he'd miss stuff and he'd just start standing still, jumping. Like it really didn't seem to go well for Hyperionnn, so he's gonna have to kind of wipe that game out of his mind if Cyclone have even an inch of hope of taking game 2 here. Let's talk about what ALG did right though. Great performance by Clow. I definitely think that the team overall got a little bit over aggressive, but you know, at the points in the games they did, it didn't really matter at that point. Still though, this Zeus is devastating.
I mean, there's a reason he's first picking it, man. He does it really, really well on it, using the shield, the Gold Fury. His ultimates were really on point this game. His positioning, as usual, some question marks at times, but it doesn't really matter. Their game plan for Allegiance is just to bait Clow. They just want you to go on Clow. That's why Clow's the one yelling in there about how you're bad and this and that. He wants you to go on him so that his other teammates can just clean up for him.
I mean, obviously you guys couldn't hear comms. I don't think we threw to one, but when they were doing that Gold Fury and we saw Cyclone start up the Fire Giant, Cloud literally yelled, "We know you're doing Fire Giant."
Yeah, loud as hell.
And then 2 of his teammates went and defended 2v5, started yelling, "You're getting 2v5'd," while the rest of the team just backed to Fountain. They're like, "We don't even care. We'll let them 2v5."
Yeah, out of all the teams here, I mean, some people think we're bad. ALG has Clow. And Clow is just on another level, man.
Clow makes it personal, dude.
Yeah,
he's like,
and he says your name.
He says your full name.
Yeah,
he's got your middle name. Like, he did his research. And he's like, you have been terrible since you were born on October 4th of, you know, whatever. Like, he knows all the information to BM you.
That's getting a little stalkerish, Clow. You might want to call me
to tone that down. Sure.
But Transonics as well. You know, we used to talk a lot about kind of these side lanes for ALG where, you know, Clow and xCynosurex were kind of just there to set up for the rest of the team. And I don't think that's the case anymore. I think as a whole, they're still doing their work. But then you also have Wolves and Transonics has just been playing unreal, honestly. We're seeing kind of Transonics pulled back a little bit because sometimes he was a little bit too raw and wild. Really controlled play, though.
I mean, during the summer split, it was really just, like you mentioned, it was Clow and Cyno just holding on until their side lanes came in and really carried, and that's what I used to play against. But watching them during this fall online split and here at LAN, it's kind of been a different dynamic. I mean, it's been Clow getting priority picks early on in the draft, and him and Cyno have done a much better job of trying to carry their load as well. It's a much more flexible team than it used to be.
And Transonics, I think he caught so many Thor hammers and rolls and just like was really just individually outplaying
right
people.
there in the replay. He's they're definitely feeding off their side lanes a lot more now. I can agree with that, like fully. There's no question about it. Transonics obviously has a great god pool, so they've even been prioritizing, like he said, Cloud pick early. Wait for Trans in the second half. They can't really ban him out. The guy's god pool is way too big at this point.
And so for